After finishing the main story of Pokemon ZA and playing the game for a couple of weeks, if there's one word I could use to describe the game, it would be promising. This game has so many elements throughout that make me think that had the development team been given enough time and resources, it would have been made into one of the best Pokemon games in recent years. But even despite the missed potential, it's not enough where, at least for me, makes the game less enjoyable. Pokemon Legends ZA is still a functional, fun, and overall satisfying game to play, with a lot of content for you to play until the night falls. And that is my spoiler-free review. Good night, everybody else. Now, what are some of the elements I say that could have been done with a bit more resources? Well, for starters, the one element everyone has been commenting on, the visuals. I'm always one to beat a dead horse, but I think this corpse has been beaten well enough, so I'll keep it brief. Yes, the overall visuals of Lumia City should have been more polished and given either more details to the models or made more higher quality textures. I understand that the whole city is loaded at once, but still. Here's a dead horse that's been personally haunted by yours truly, customization in Pokemon games. While I appreciated the grand array of clothes and accessories our characters could wear, it's all very nice. But 4 skin tones, no coily hair, no curly hair options, and before anyone says anything, that is wavy hair. And sure, there's a singular braided hairstyle. But still, why are there more hair colors than hairstyles and skin tones combined? This department needs a lot of improvement. What especially irks me the most is the fact that we've had the same skin tones for almost 7 years. I appreciate all the customization with clothing, accessories, and facial features, but I think it's time to start focusing on bringing a bigger and diverse range of skin colors and hairstyles. Another element I wish was given a bit more was the consistency with the cutscenes. I will say, the movie cutscenes look great. Fluid animation, solid expressions, very nicely done. But when we get to the dialogue non-cutscene scenes of the game, I'm kinda left underwhelmed. For a game that heavily relied on its story and dialogue, I did feel a bit bored when there was a long span of dialogue where the characters barely emoted. Granted, it didn't help that I didn't truly connect with most characters, but perhaps given more physicality, expression, and hell, maybe some voice acting, I really would have cared a bit more about what was happening. And again, this issue is only highlighted by how heavily reliant on the story this game is. And speaking of not connecting with characters, it is a bit unfortunate how I did not connect with many of them. That doesn't mean that they're not functional. A lot of them do check the box of what they're supposed to do, but it's our main friend group, Team MZ, that leaves me desiring for more. I will say, Naveen was the best one out of the 3. He is the only one that has a noticeable arc, as well as the only one that I felt where I felt like a true bond was created. I was always very happy to see him. Plus, Naveen's accountability speech at the end of the game was bars. Lida is there. For how interesting and important Naveen is in some parts of the story, she kind of didn't have much going on. And it kind of sucks because that is the second dancing Kalos companion character that has been not fleshed out. She's bubbly and optimistic, but aside from her dancing, she really doesn't get much else. But she's not the biggest issue. Oh no, the biggest issue is Urbaine and Taunie. This character had so much potential, yet I leave the game feeling frustrated at what could have been one of the most interesting characters in the game. This character is the one that finds you, lets you join their team, and essentially watches from the sidelines as you become more and more powerful to the point of overshadowing them as the trainer that could solve the problems happening in Lumio City, despite them being the leader of their team. And you could see the frustration throughout the game ever so slowly, in the way they would always play catch up with the player in the ZA Royale and the final battle before the end. And not only that, them not accepting defeat and going up the tower against what was established. Now, none of this is the problem. The problem is that this resentment they have towards the player is never actually showed properly, even in this final moment. They just remain friendly. I like the concept of their stubbornness to be the one who saves the day, but because they have to remain friendly to the player, they become a very awkward and hypocritical character. Strange for a character who's seemingly painted with a good moral compass. I really would have liked if they showed them getting intimidated by the player character as they became a stronger trainer and a more vital member of Team MZ that was looked at more as the leader than Taunie Urbaine, with them growing resentment and seeing them go bitter and more sheltered as the story grew. Hell, have that final battle with them be more egocentric and make them break emotionally even more as every Pokemon on their team faints. Actually question why the hell we're having a battle while the world might end, only for it to not matter and make Taunie or Urbaine selfish to actually go and try to save the world, all to basically fuck things up. Not really their responsibility, but still. I mean, they already show you the lengths they would go to get what they want, with them getting themselves in debt with the Rust Syndicate, which was an issue we also got dragged into. There are so many pieces that show this character's desperation and not thinking things through, which ends up things fucking up. Why stop at the death and not make them fuck up in the ending instead of it just malfunctioning? That would have been great, especially for what seems to be one of the main themes of the game, redemption. Throughout the game, we meet a lot of characters that have done awful things in the past. AC, Elle, Mabel, Grissom, and many more. All these characters, in one way or another, want to leave their past behind and have the ability to move on with their lives. That sounds simple enough to some, but when all of these people have been responsible for almost taking the lives of millions of people, some almost succeeding, and some others actually taking many lives, it's impossible to carry on without remembering your past, whether it be memories or because of other people. Again, millions of lives at stake, and each of these characters finds a way to cope with their past in different ways. Grissom is still stuck in the past, AC hides his past from his close ones, Mabel has moved on, and Elle has amnesia. And the one thing that they all have in common is that they're not able to escape their past, and they never will, which is why a lot of them are looking for a way to cope. But the one thing they all manage to have in common by the end of the game, except for Elle because he has amnesia, is accountability. I know the world was ending, but Naveen was 100% right to call out AC to take accountability. The others were way too quickly to just forgive and forget, but actions have consequences, and just because they don't affect us currently doesn't make their actions any less awful. Plus, even just taking accountability is not a way to fix it all. It's also dependent in our actions. Do they reflect that we actually changed as people? Do we actually mean a genuine redemption? And even then, it's up to those we hurt to forgive us. And sometimes, people don't forgive, but that doesn't make them assholes. Again, these people have either taken or almost succeeded in taking multiple lives. So the fact that some people are even thinking of forgiving these people is already a big step. But that's what redemption actually is. It's a tumultuous journey of deconstructing and rebuilding who we are as people while staying strong amidst the valid criticisms of our past. Because also, if you're mad that people are calling you out for murdering millions of people, then perhaps you need to listen again why people are mad at you. And this redemption theme is very prominent in the game, that I really wished would have been tied together with a nice little bow of including Urbaine Taunie with what could have been one of the best rival characters. Now, does it feel odd to lump Urbaine Taunie with these people? You could say that. I mean, this character only wanted to do what's best for Lumiose originally. They just got consumed by their personal drive and obsessed on achieving them themselves. They got blinded by their original goal, which led them to just, do wrong things. But that's what the others also did, to a less awful degree. Lysandre originally wanted to make the world a better place, but he started spiraling with his own ambitions and ideologies that his original goal went out the window and it became something much more despicable. Same thing goes for AC. All he wanted was to revive his Floette, but again, his hatred consumed him so much it drove him mad. Hell, that's the reason his Floette left him for 3,000 years. And same goes for the other characters. They all started with good intentions, but it's when they started being consumed by their own darkness when their actions began to not align with their ideals, causing destruction in the way. And the same could have applied for Taunie or Urbaine, to a less bad degree. The worst they did in the game was drag their friends to a debt scam that could have ended horribly, but the pieces are there. Taunie or Urbaine could have been a character that as time grew, became more isolated and getting less with the team as they started doing things on their own, sheltering themselves more as well as becoming less bubbly as the story went on, all showing this resentment and truly show their desperation to be the one to save the day. The massive debt was already a great step to take, now just go on from there. Let them be morally gray, make them egocentric in the finale, and let them fuck up, all of which could have started Urbaine Taunie's redemption arc and finished AC's. It would have been great. It would have made them a character that is more thematically cohesive as well as making them a much more interesting character. But alas, what did I like about the game? Well, I really liked how the game played. The battle mechanics were so much fun, and it made Pokemon battles even more enjoyable than they already were. The mechanic of the ZA Royale, from battling people at night, the challenger tickets, as well as ranking up, was so much fun and was so much more engaging than I originally thought it would be. The different types of bosses in the games were also pretty great, from the Rogue Mega Evolutions to the recognizable challengers in the ZA Royale. It all made it a pretty challenging but fun experience. I also really liked Lumiose City. I still wish it had more details, but exploring the city was honestly such a joy. What an absolute delight it is to walk around the city and explore new things in every corner, all aided by the amount of side quests, which made the game all the more fun and with more things to do. There's never a dull moment in this game, which is honestly a rare thing to say for most Pokemon games. The fact that despite having a linear story, you're able to do things on your own, at your own pace, makes this game probably one of the most replayable Pokemon games I've played in a while. The wild zones in the game are also really fun. I do wish some of the explorable areas in the beginning of the game weren't turned into wild zones, but oh well. I like the day-night system. It gave players who love doing their own things have the ability to form a schedule of what to do. I also really like the music in the games. I really like the remixes of old Kalos music because they really brought new life to those tracks. I think the music that I enjoyed the most was the Lumio's overworld music. Very relaxing, but energetic at the same time, both day and night versions. Oh wait, something that I really enjoyed about this game also was the return of XP candies and the way you obtain them. If you progressed through the story, did side quests, collected shards, and beat alpha Pokemon, you'd be rewarded with XP candies, which made it not only really easy to overlevel your Pokemon, but also, if you caught a Pokemon later down the road and wanted it in your team, but it's underleveled, the XP candies made sure they would be on par with the rest of your team. So thank you, XP Candy, for letting me experiment with my team, without having to pay the price of leveling a Pokemon that didn't deliver. I also really like the return of Mega Evolutions. Welcome home, honey, I missed you. And I'm very happy that we got a bunch of new Megas. Some better than others, but the good outweighed the bad ones, I think. I think the aspect that I really liked the most about the game was its commentary on underthought ideals. As it is said in the story, whoever won the Royal ZA and obtained ranked A would be granted a wish regarding Pokemon and people living together in Lumio City, something that pushed a lot of people to participate in it with the hope to get the wish granted. However, as the story went along and you met more people, you would notice that a lot of their wishes were very selfish at best and propaganda at worst. It showed you the dangers of giving unprepared idealistic people stupid amounts of power. The out-of-touch elitist, the manipulative enforcer, the leader of a parasocial cult, the absolutist brute, the vengeful one who wishes to escape their past, the selfish wannabe hero, and every other character that was after rank A. I mean, you could try spinning all their ideals into a good thing. In the end, all they wanted was a better Lumios, but none of them really thought of the whole picture, and I did not agree with a single proposal. And I really like that. It shows you that power shouldn't be just given to one person, and not only one person, but also one powerful person. They never focused on what their wish could be, only the amount of power they possess. The one person who could not be beaten and could potentially beat any potential threats. No consideration of what their ideals and integrity would be, leading to honestly a disastrous regimen that would have been quote-unquote one fair and square. Hell, the closest one to almost obtain rank A was part of a brand new Team Flare. I'm sure that wouldn't have gone bad. And in the end of the game, it was when everyone came together that peace was given to Lumio City and we saved the day. For the moment. And yeah, you could say that the big company did kind of limit your wish when you obtained rank A, but again, what would have happened if it was an evil person? They are already the most powerful trainer in the city. Who's gonna stop them if they want to just use brute force to get their wish? This whole, what would people do if they became the most powerful trainer and what would their desire be, is a great philosophical question that even with some of the morally darker characters, it truly showed how well-meaning people can have hurtful ambitions and how despicable people might have a shed of well-meaning. It was a neat concept. So overall, I think Pokemon Legends ZA is a good game. I don't think I wasted my money buying this game, but I also think the game is overpriced. Rough visuals, limited customization, boring dialogue scenes, and missed character opportunities really drag this game down. However, it's got very solid gameplay, massive replayability, fun mechanics, but above all, really well developed themes of redemption and idealism that make this game have a distinct voice that made me really appreciate the game. Perhaps if the game had more time to develop to properly flesh out all those frail ends, they would have made one of the best Pokemon games of all time. But for what we have right now, it's a pretty alright and fun game, and if that is good enough for you, this game will be it. But boy, I do hope game prices drop soon, because it's going to fuck everyone in the ass having to reach expectations of a $100 game.